Welcome to Chapter 4 of my video series, House Charts, Geometry, and Magic Squares. My name is Jody Milner, author of The DNA Code of I Ching. It is available on Amazon and contains additional images. Soon after discovering the 8 house groups of the 64 hexagrams, as discussed in previous videos, I created a numeric version of the hexagram wheel. I then plotted the houses into geometric patterns as shown here. Paired houses and multiple house groups also display interesting patterns. The earlier heaven trigram wheel encodes a split binary system. The more deeply I studied it as the ancient code it is, separate from the fascinating oracle, myth, and magic which it became, the more I recognize its purposeful binary logic. An important feature of its dual directionality is how it mirrors the binary logic encoded in life. The lower values move from left to right, while the higher values also begin on the left and move toward the right in ascending order. However, the highest values pair with lowest values as opposites moving from right to left. After assembling the house charts, it was clear that locked inside the binary numbers of I Ching was a code for an ancient form of geometry. The geometric angles used today are based on segments of a 360-degree circle. The angles of the earlier heaven trigram wheel are based on segments of a 64-degree circle. By dividing 360 by 64, we can compare the modern system of angles to the ancient one. Each of the 64 degrees in the earlier heaven sequence is equal to 5.625 degrees of our present measurement system. The 1703 Leibniz document also displays the hexagrams in a split binary order in which they move as two separate and distinct halves. This causes the hexagrams to always reside directly across from their line-to-line opposites. With this split system in mind, there is a fascinating artifact called the Narmer palette, housed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. It is a two-sided carved stone plate, which has been reliably dated at 3200 to 3000 BC. When I saw it in a photograph, I instantly recognized the split circle created by the long-necked beasts. Are these two ancient artifacts related? Do they have shared roots in an even earlier culture and long-forgotten system of knowledge? In a college art history class long ago, I had learned about the 1514 engraving by Albrecht Dürer called Melancholia I. At the time, I felt an instant affinity for the determined angel, lost in contemplation of things she might never comprehend. When I came upon a picture of her on the internet, the accompanying article turned out to be about magic squares. Although I had never thought much about magic squares, I read on. It turns out that above the angel's wings, Dürer included a magic square. This one has numbers which always add up to 34, whether they are combined in rows, columns, or diagonals. Other famous thinkers were also enamored of figuring out possible magic square solutions. Benjamin Franklin, for example, spent a lot of time and paper in his search for magic squares, and some of the results of his toil can be found in his writings. Soon after assembling the binary house chart, I realized the hexagrams within each house act as 4 binary pairs. Binary pairs always add up to 63 because they are line-to-line opposites. In a hexagram pair, each line position is represented once as a solid line and once as a broken line. Therefore, each binary pair can be thought of as one complete hexagram of solid lines, which totals 7 for the lower trigram plus 56 for the upper trigram. These two fully on trigrams total 63. Taking this a step further mathematically, 4 pairs per house times 63 equals 252. One morning after reading the Melancholia article, I felt convinced that the houses could be arranged into a magic square. As it turned out, this was a correct assumption. Leaving the hexagrams in family groups and in their original rows, I arranged them into sequential order from least to greatest. I knew the target total for the columns and the diagonals had to be 252. I first created the following chart. I could see I would need to reverse half the rows to achieve numerical symmetry within columns. First, I tried switching every other row, but that did not work. After a few calculations and a couple more tries, I found the solution below. It was almost too easy. All rows, columns, and diagonals added up to 252. This diagram is the resulting magic square. Eventually, I found this second magic square. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and tune into the next section about pyramids.